Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Hope you're doing well. Today we're going to learn how to draft a basic bodice. Let's get started. So we start off by folding our fabric into two. We're going to work on the front panel first. So fold it into two, but for the folding measurements, you have to mark your bust measurement, which is the largest part of the upper body. So you mark your bust, you get your bust, divide by 4, plus about me I used 3 inches, 2 for seam allowance and 1 inch for just extra fitting and also so whatever it is, if your bust is 40 inches or mine was 44, I divided it into 4, which was 11 inches, then plus 3 inches, making it 14 inches, and that's what I folded. So yeah, we are working on the first panel, on the front panel first, and so that's what I'm working with. Here I'm just drawing the baseline. The first line I drew was the 1/2 inch that I'm going to leave to join the waist. And then this upper line that I've just marked is my shoulder line. So I'm going to mark my shoulder. I think I'm marking my shoulder to... There I'm just looking at the client's measurements, so don't mind what I'm looking at. So that's my shoulder to the bust, which is 11.5 inches, and it's what I'm marking. That's from the shoulder to the bust measurement, so which is 11.5 inches, as you can see. And then I have to mark that's my, I think, shoulder to shoulder. Yeah, shoulder to shoulder measurement, which was 8.5 inches. And remember, your shoulder to shoulder, or your nape, whatever you call it, you divide it by 2. So that's what I've just marked. I marked it both on the bust line and on the shoulder line, which is 8.5. And next I'm going to mark my armhole measurement, my armhole depth. To mark your armhole depth, you can get your round armhole. You measure the client's armhole around it, circumference, and then divide that by 2. Or you get the off-shoulder measurement, the bust measurement, divide by 8. Yeah, divide by 6 minus 1. So for me, I did the calculation and I got I think 9. Normally, because this is a big person that I'm making for, a lady, I don't know what age, about 35 to 40, and she's a bit big. She's on the extra large size of the size chart, so I think I marked 10 or 11. And then yeah, so now I'm marking my neck measurement, and my neck measurement is 3 inches. And then you mark your slant, your shoulder slant, which is 1 inch. Then get the midpoint of the remaining armhole. If it's 8 inches, that means you're going to mark the half at 4 inches. Then go in by 1/2 inch to mark your curve, your armhole curve for the front panel, so that it fits well. It does not press on the client. So that's why we go in by 1/2 inch, and that's what I'm trying to do. Then get your French curve and try to draw a curve for the front, for the front armhole. So now I'm marking my neck depth, which is 4 inches. I decided to put it at 4 4 inches. You can adjust it to whatever inches you want, but my dress is going to have a zipper, so 4 inches is okay. And I think she's Muslim, so she wanted something covered, so that's why 4 inches was appropriate for her. So now I'm marking my bust measurement on the chest line. I'm going to mark that both on the chest line and on the bust line. And like, remember I told you, if the person is 44 bust circumference, mark 11 inches and then add 2 inches for seam allowance. 1 inch is for seam allowance and 1 inch is for ease. So mark that the same measurement on the bust line. Then on the waist line, which is the one we're going to join with the waist, you get your waist, divide by 4, your waist, the person's waist circumference, divide by 4 and mark that. But before doing that, you can decide to mark the bust span before, or decide to mark this before. But remember, we are going to have to insert a dart that I'm not going to cut out. So yeah, you need your bust span. So I'm going to mark my bust span, or you can call it the nipple to nipple measurement. You measure it on your client. That is the distance between the 2 nipples. So that's what you mark, and you divide it by 2. If it's, say, 7 inches, that means your nipple to nipple measurement is going to be 3.5. Or if it's 4 inches, that means it's going to be 2 inches. You divide it by 2, but keep in mind that the larger the person, or the bigger in size the person, the wider the nipple to nipple measurement. So always keep that in mind. And the other ways to find it is you divide, I think, the bust measurement, divide by 8 plus 1.5. Yeah, I think that's it. So you can also get the nipple measurement by doing that. So now I marked my nipple to nipple measurement, and you mark that on all the lines, from the chest line to the waist line. Then I marked 1 inch, my 1 inch dart, and my 1 inch below, the bust line, because that's where my dart is going to start. Then you use your French curve for the front. For the front panel, we use a French curve to outline the dart. Remember, I'm not going to cut out this dart, so yeah, that is why I decided to mark that. But if you're going to cut out your dart, you have to make sure you add seam allowance. So on the waistline, keep in mind when you're marking, you have to mark, when you're adding allowance to your waistline, divide by 4, you have to add allowance, the 2 inch seam allowance, and then 1 inch for the dart. You have to recover that. Don't forget to add the 1 inch dart, otherwise the waist will be small. So that's what I marked, and that's why the panel is going to come out a bit straight, and it depends on the person's body circumference still. So yeah. So yeah, that's my front panel. I'm still cutting it out. You're going to have to cut out all the, I didn't add seam allowance at the top, at the shoulder. I forgot to do that, but it's optional. It depends. And sometimes I don't like to add it if I want the outfit to be fitted. So there I just cut out the armhole. As you can see, it's really well curved. So yeah, I'm just cutting out the shoulder part. you can do that. It's only the neckline that I didn't cut out at the moment because I still wanted to use this panel to cut out my back. I'm just basically going to trace. There are only two things that I'll have to change on the back panel, and that's the neckline and the armhole curve. So yeah, so now I've put my panel. If you can see clearly, you can get to see that the front panel is now placed on the back panel, on the folded back panel. But when you're folding the back panel, keep in mind that you have to add allowance for your zipper, for attaching the zipper, and that should be at the folded part if your zipper is going to be at the center back. So I use 2 inches for my zipper, and that's at the folded part. Then after the 2 inches, I joined, that's where I placed the front panel. So here I'm just tracing out, and like I told you, we are only going to change the armhole. As you can see, I'm drawing a straight line for the armhole to try and replicate where the armhole of the front panel before I reduced it by 0.5 inches. So that's how the back panel will be. And now, yes, that's where, as you can see, I'm notching the dart, and I will do the same for the back panel. I notched the dart for the front panel, and now I'm going to notch the dart for the back panel. And now I'm going to mark my neckline, which is 1 inch for the back, and that's going to go up to the 3 inches, the 3-inch neckline. Here, remember, I just traced out most of the things, so that's why you see I'm not really like drafting or calculating anything. I'm just tracing out from the front panel. So that's going to be my back. Yeah, and the only difference from the front panel is the zipper part, the neckline, and the armhole. So that one that I've just placed on is the front panel, and as you can see, it's 2 inches away from the back panel, the folded bit. So here I'm just notching the dart areas, the parts where I'm going to mark the darts, and yeah, and that's it. Then the dart, again, here I mark my bust to bust, nipple to nipple measurement, or my bust span. I mark those measurements so that I can get the dart, because the dart of the back panel is different from the dart of the front panel. They are different in length. In width, it's okay. They are both 1 inch, which means half an inch on both sides of the dart. But on the length, this one goes 2 inches above the bust line. I don't know if you get that. The back panel, here I'm just marking the shoulder to the bust panel, to the bust line, sorry. That's shoulder to the bust line. That's what I'm marking. And then now, above the bust line, I mark 2 inches. So those are the 2 inches where I'm going to join my dart from. So 2 inches going down to the 1 inch width on the waistline. I hope you get what I'm saying. The back panel, the dart, for the back panel, the dart has to go 2 inches above, keep that in mind, above 2 inches above the bust line. But for the front panel, the dart goes 1 inch below, 1 inch below the bust line. So that's the difference in the darts. It sits. Reason as to why we don't start it at the bust line itself is because that it means the top will be, or the dress, there will be that sharp pointed thing at the bust area, and we do not want that because it will look like a nipple. So we don't want that. That's why we start it 1 inch below. And then for the back, it's just to grasp everything in place. That's why we make it slightly higher. So those are my panels, and I have to separate the back panel because, like I said, I left 2 inches for the zipper. So we're going to attach a zipper and it has to be separated. The front panel is the one that remains folded the way it is. So yeah, there I'm just marking because I was supposed to make 3 outfits like that. So I was just marking the different people. So here I'm just cutting out my lining that I'm going to attach, and for the lining you do exactly the same. Where you put the dart on the front panel is where you put the dart on the front panel of the lining. Whatever you make, whatever change you make on the front one is the same change you make on the lining. So that is it, and it's that easy. Yeah, so if you've made it this far in the video, don't forget to like, don't forget to share, don't forget to subscribe, and hit that notification bell to be notified whenever I post a new video. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and hope you liked the video, and yeah, please stay tuned for more. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching, and bye.